Okay, let's continue our talks on Stoicism, where we were now going through the meditations by Marcus Aurelius, skipping bits here and there. This is one from the fourth book. This is section 42, and this is one that I really wanted to cover. This one is so concise that it's approaching the point of terseness. This is almost worthy of Epictetus in its brevity and that to the pointness. Section 42. Change. Nothing inherently bad in the process, nothing inherently good in the result. I love it. It's so simple. It makes me laugh a bit, but it's an incredibly profound and deep statement. And I can picture Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, most powerful man in the world at the time. Everybody is coming into his chambers. Everybody wants things from him, favors, and wants him to look into this and solve that, and please consider that, etc. And it's very clear that he wasn't necessarily very much a fan of human beings, to put it lightly, if you read his texts. But then he says something like this. Can you picture him being kind of annoyed at everyone coming in, and he wants this and she wants that, and they want me to do such and such, and now I have to march here and I have to conquer that area now. He just wanted to be a philosopher. He just wanted to sit down with his books and read. Change. Nothing inherently bad in the process, nothing inherently good in the result. Change characterizes the world, and change characterizes your life. Think of how many things you have seen change, and how very much you have changed from the day you were born. You've become a very different person, and this is normal. I mean that in the physical sense of the word. Pretty much, maybe not in your brain, but pretty much every other cell in your body is no longer the cell that you were born with, because your cells change all the time. They refresh themselves, they renew themselves. It's how it works. So physically, brain again works a little differently, but physically, you're no longer the same person you were the day you were born. You've changed. Mentally, you have probably changed a lot too. This is normal. You go through specific things in life and you come out a changed person, for better or worse, but the things that you go through in life change you. But here's the thing. Change is just a process. That's more or less the thing. So you can have all kinds of expectations when it comes to change. Well, if in our company we do such and such, then there will be change and this will be a good thing. Maybe. Maybe not. Change is, again, just a process, and processes, this is a very stoic way to look at things. Things in themselves are just things. Change is just a thing. I would almost say this is something I don't think we've talked about this for a while. Indifference with a T at the end, right? Indifference. Remember that when we talked about that? So you have, for example, money. Money is neither good nor bad. It's just a thing. It's an indifferent, adiaphora. It doesn't actually make you good to have money. It doesn't actually make you good to have no money, nor does it make you bad. It just makes you a person with a lot of money or not a lot of money. It's how you use that money that matters. And that is what makes you, you. That is the thing that matters. So it's not the money, it's how you use it. You can be a completely virtuous person with money. You can be a completely virtuous person without money. That's why money is indifferent. It is indifferent to virtue, which, if you recall, is the most important thing to a Stoic. You cannot lead a happy, rich, and fulfilling life unless you are virtuous. Okay. What about change in all of this? What's just the thing? Nothing inherently bad in the process, nothing inherently good in the result. No, because it's how you look at things. First of all, change is just a thing. I could choose to remove that poster of The Mandalorian, but that is not the way. I could also choose to not have that closet, those doors grey. I could have them purple. That would be a change. That would be a process. It is not inherently bad. It's also not inherently good, and the outcome will not be inherently good either. It will be different. And I can tell you right now that, as to my audience, that some people would say, oh yes, if that would be white, it would look a lot better. And some people would say, well, if that would be black, it would look a lot better. And there's also people who would say, no, it should stay grey. It's exactly the way it should be. That's how I like it. Nothing inherently good, nothing inherently bad. It's just change. Now, that's just painting walls or removing a poster. Now, imagine big changes in life. Imagine getting married. Imagine getting a job. Imagine having children. Well, these are processes. Getting a job, getting married, having children, these are not inherently bad, nor are they inherently bad, nor are they, wow. They are neither inherently good, nor are they inherently bad. It is just the process. And you go through the process all the time. And sometimes change may seem like a good thing, but then when you actually do it, it seems a pretty bad thing afterwards. Or the other way around. You may be afraid to change something because you think it's going to be bad, but it turns out to actually be pretty good. You cannot see the outcome of everything. Some outcomes you can see. If you're going to drive down a quiet country road without any streetlights, you're going to do 240 kilometers an hour, the outcome is likely to be bad. Doesn't have to be, but it's more likely to be bad than good. But it is a process. And at the end of the day, it depends on how you interpret that process. Someone you love falls ill. This is change. Well, most people would say that is a bad change, not a good change. Indeed. But that's an interpretation as well. I'm not saying that you cannot feel bad. There's not a Stoic in the world. Read the actual material of the Stoics. There's not a single Stoic that would say, well, you shouldn't feel anything when that happens. What an absurd thought. Of course you will feel things. But would it make more sense to then spend the remaining time that you have with your partner enjoying each other, loving each other, trying to make good memories? Or would it make more sense to spend the time that remains with your partner being angry, upset and frustrated, missing out on their final moments because you are so angry and upset over the change in the process, and then they die? On purpose, I use an emotional example. This is a very emotional thing to happen, right? But it is something to think about. Change is neither inherently good in the whole outcome. There's nothing inherently bad in the whole process. It's just a change. And at the end of the day, it is you who has to interpret the process and the outcome of those changes. We cannot stop change, nor can we really try, because it's kind of pointless. The world changes. I remember the time there was no internet. I remember the time there were no cell phones. Now we have these things. The internet can be used for wonderful things and terrible things. The change itself is neither good nor bad. It's how you use it. The same thing with cell phones, the same thing with cars, the same thing with airplanes, the same thing with all of these things. What will you do? How will you use those changes? That's it. I thank the Emperor for this very beautiful and concise statement. Change, nothing inherently bad in the process, nothing inherently good in the result. How very true. I hope this was useful. I hope this has given you some food for thought. And more next week. Bye-bye.